Okay, good evening. We're continuing with 3 minutes of Tehillim. We're up to Perek, Chav Beis, Psalm 22. L'matzeach al ayeles hashachar mizmor leDavid. For the ayeles type of instrument, probably a psalm of David. So we'll get back to what that is and why specifically ayeles hashachar. But Chazal tell us in a number of places, in Medrash Tehillim and in the Gemara in Yuma, that ayeles hashachar is a reference to Esther. And Esther is comparative of dawn. And Esther is the end of prophecy. And that's very strange, because if you're talking about the ayeles hashachar, as Rav Hirsch explains, as the yearning for the redemption, the real light, the shachar, the dawn after the darkness, then why are we saying Esther is representative of that? If Esther is the end of prophecy, isn't that plunging us into the darkness? So we'll get back to that in a second. Going on to Pasuk Beis is probably one of the most desperate, dramatic calls in all of Tehillim. Pasuk Beis, Keli, Keli, Hashem, my God, Lama azavtani, why have you forsaken me? Right, such a strong language. God, where are you? Elokei, Ekra, or Eloki, Ekra, Yomam lo saneh. Hashem is my God, I call to him day and night. But lo saneh, he doesn't answer. V'layla, and at night, v'lo dum yallah. And there's only silence for me, but for me, I'm continuing to pray. But it's almost like a challenge, because the next pasuk is V'ata, and you Hashem, which we know that we're familiar with this phrase from our davening, Kadosh Yoshev Tilos Yisrael. It's interesting, we use that in a different context in our tefillah. We say, like we're talking about the angels and in Kedusha, but here we're saying, you're sitting there in the holiness, right? You're seeing everything that's going on. You're sitting up there, hearing the prayers of Israel. I'm praying to you, right? Below dum yali, there's no silence for me. You're just sitting there, Kadosh Yoshev Tilos Yisrael, and you're hearing all the praises and all the davening. What are you doing? And then we continue. B'cha batchu avosenu. This is an old Karbach tune, which maybe Rabbi Yisrael would know about, but B'cha batchu avosenu, our forefathers trusted in you, right? They trusted in you, and we trust in you. We weren't embarrassed. It's almost like saying, Hashem, we still have faith in you. Our great Bubbies and Zadis and our parents and us, we still are here. We're still waiting for you, Hashem. And that's sort of there's no real end or conclusion to this Perek. It's sort of just like this yearning, and it doesn't really. There's no resolve. There's no obvious resolve. So going back to the original question, to tie everything together, hopefully, there's an old phrase that I think it was Thomas Fuller first said in 1650 in his description of actually Palestine. He said that it's darkest before the dawn. Now, it's possible that we could use that and sort of maybe put a little spin on it. It's not darkest before the dawn. It's happening at the same moment. Right? When it's darkest, it's actually the time when the Geula is unfolding. Right? Ayeles hashachar, the yearn for the ultimate redemption, is happening in the same moments that Esther is sort of happening, because Esther represents that end of that history. History is moving forward. The Geula is actually occurring as the darkness continues. The light is actually shining. It's there's a Hasidic Maisa. I'm just going to tell it to you shortly, but it's the Gemara tells us that when they broke into when our enemies were breaking into the Kodesh HaKadoshim, they saw that the Kruvim were facing each other. And the question is, if they're attacking the Kodesh HaKadoshim, and we know the Kruvim are supposed to be facing each other when the Jewish people are listening, wouldn't they be facing away from each other when they're destroying the temple? So I think it's the name of the Baal Shem Tov that they say that when you are leaving your loved one, when you're parting ways from someone that you're close with, right? There's a special bond and a special connection in that moment, and when you're reunited, this is also that special connection. So even though, so to speak, during the destruction, Hashem is almost telling us, "I'm here with you. I am close with you." Almost as a couple who's parting ways, they feel that special connection, that special love that they have for each other, even though they're going to be parting ways. So it's the same theme, is that even in the darkest moments, really the unfolding of the Geula is happening. Not only just it's darkest before the dawn, but it's actually the dawn is arriving even in the darkness.